This is Tim from Hygraph. And so recently I implemented a multi-language project with Hygraph, and I thought it would be complicated to do, but it wasn't at all. So here's a video of all the steps I took to make this work in Hygraph. Let's go into the browser. So this is my little example project, and to be able to add another language, we actually go to our project settings, locales, and then we just start typing. So I've now added French here. And when you add a language, there's two little things you have to think about. First of all, if you want 3 or 4 or 5 languages, you need to upgrade your account to a paid account. But then there's one other one. When you actually go to your permissions, it could be that the permissions are set up for just that 1 or 2 locales that you have. And if you have more locales that are not included in the permissions, you cannot see them or query them. And you can see here, for me, it's all locales. That's out of the box, right? But you could actually do this. So now I can only query English, for example. Of course, we want to query all of them. So here we go. And I've also set up draft and published. This is just kind of like one permission to rule them all just for demo purposes. All right, this is added. So what I want to make is actually a little meme collection, like a little database full of a few memes. So let's start with one. And memes are images, generally. So let me just grab an image that I created with one of those fun meme generators. And it's basically just the change my mind one, and it says GraphQL is the best. So let's edit this one, because we've uploaded the English version now. And you can see here on the right, there's actually French, because we've added that language. So let's add that localization. And now I get to upload my French version. All right, so now we have one asset for 2 languages. And these 2 languages have have each a media item, but it's one asset. So of course, now that if we want to show this in, let's say, an API output, we could query just the assets, but actually I want a little database, right? So let's go to the schema. Oh, let's save it first, of course. And you can see, you can actually save all of the locales here. Let's go to the schema and add a meme model. And so the meme model actually has a title and an image. Let's keep it simple for now. So let's just add the title. And as you can see here on the bottom, there is this localized field property here. Because you could build a schema that a few fields are not localized, like an ID or a slug or whatever you want. And then others are localizable because you have to write some copy, for example, or select an image, right? So now we have the title. It is localizable. Now if we scroll down, we're going to add an image. So an asset picker, just call it image. All right. And so you're not seeing me clicking a checkbox here for localizing, because what this actually is, you can see it here, it's a two-way reference, which means an image asset is a model on its own, right? You can see that here on the top, there's an asset model for the system. So this is actually a reference field. And we're not localizing the reference field. We're actually localizing the asset itself, but we just did that in the step before. All right, so this is now saved. And so let's add some content. So let's add our first meme. And it was called Change My Mind. And so let's add our French version here. And I went to Google Translate because typing and speaking French are 2 different skills, right? We have all the commas and apostrophes and all the complicated stuff. So I'm just going to copy paste this stuff, right? So change my mind, 2 languages. And now let's grab our image that's also already set up for 2 languages. So let's save and publish this one, French, English, and whatever is non-localized, sure. And now we have our base done. So the next thing that we have to do is actually query this thing. And so let's just go to the API playground, because that's how easy it is to query stuff with Hygraph. You don't really have to know GraphQL that well, because you can just make your query here visually. So let's go. We want all memes, sure. And let's see, we want for the locale French. And what do I want? Well, let's query the locale itself. Let's get the title, and then let's get the image. And for the image, I need, let's see, what do we have? Just the URL. Sure. Let's query. So now you can see my title is French. What I can also do here is actually say, give me English. And now we have the English version. Well, let's check if that image is actually the English one now. There we go. That's the English version. And so this is just a simple query in here. You wouldn't probably do this in code this way because you don't want to hard code this. We actually want a variable. So let's build that, right? Let's call this meme. And what we want is actually, is a locale as a variable from your query because your app knows what language you are in, right? Let's call this locale, and it has to be the locale type. And actually, when you do it with a variable, what it wants is this could be an array. And so we can do locale in here. And so now essentially we can say, give this to me in French and English if we wanted to. So we can add a query variable here now, locale. And what we want for this one is, let's go with English. You see, it also gives you French. Oh, we have to do double quotes. And let's hit it. Here's my English version. And if we do French, now I have my French version. And you can actually see that the image is the locale as well. If we just add locale to the image, you can see that as well. And so now this query, you can just paste it into your code. Whatever GraphQL language you're using or the way you call GraphQL, you can just add this as a variable and you're ready to rock. And you know what? This wasn't that complex, actually. And there's a bunch of other little things you can do with localization, like without giving the locale, getting all the versions and all that stuff, but that's not for this video. I will put a link in the description to our documentation that has all of that stuff. And so if you have questions about this or you want to try it out or talk to us about it, join us at slack.hygraph.com. And there you can talk about everything, learn things, join our community. Anyways, happy coding. Cheers.